The day had started just like any other aboard the research station Horizon. Situated at the edge of the known universe, the Horizon was humanity's farthest outpost, a gleaming symbol of human curiosity and determination. It orbited a young, vibrant planet teeming with life, which had been named Celestis due to its breathtakingly beautiful blue-green landscapes visible from space. Dr. Eliana Voss, one of the station's top xenobiologists, was preparing for her routine check on the native species they had been studying. However, today was destined to be anything but ordinary. As she adjusted her microscope, the station's alarm blared, a sound that was all too familiar yet always heart-stopping. Something was approaching the station, something big. The crew rushed to the observation deck, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Outside, against the backdrop of the infinite cosmos, was an alien vessel of a design they had never seen before. It was enormous, with a sleek, iridescent body that shimmered with colors that seemed to defy the spectrum visible to human eyes. Commander Ryan Beck, the station's head, was the first to regain his composure. "Initiate first contact protocols," he ordered, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. The crew scrambled to their stations, sending out standard greeting messages in all known languages and several theoretical ones devised by linguists and AI back on Earth. The response was instantaneous and startling. The alien ship communicated back not in words or digital data, but in a burst of harmonious sounds that resonated through the station's hull. It was as if the ship itself was speaking directly to their souls. "We need a specialist in exolinguistics now," Beck shouted over the commotion. Eliana stepped back from the chaos, her mind racing. She had studied these aliens, or at least their microbes, for months now. Maybe, just maybe, she could be of help. She approached Beck. "I think I can understand them," she said, her voice a mixture of uncertainty and excitement. Beck looked at her, assessing her resolve. "Do it," he said simply. Armed with her knowledge and a translator device that she hastily programmed with her theories, Eliana began to interpret the sounds. The messages were complex, embedded with layers of emotional and logical content, but a pattern emerged. The aliens, who called themselves the Seraphim, were explorers, much like the humans. They were peaceful but had entered a critical phase of their life cycle mating season. This was a sacred and dangerous time for them, and they had never before been so far from their home. The crew listened in awe as Eliana relayed the information. But it was the next message from the Seraphim that took everyone by surprise. They needed help. One of their own, a nurse specialized in their mating rituals, had gone into a frenzy far earlier than expected due to the stress of travel and new environments. They were requesting medical assistance. Without hesitation, Commander Beck turned to Eliana. "Dr. Voss, prepare to board their ship. You're the closest thing we have to an expert on their biology." As Eliana suited up for the encounter, her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. She was about to make history, to be the first human to step onto an alien vessel and interact so closely with another sentient species. Fear mingled with excitement, but above all, there was a sense of purpose. She was no longer just a scientist. She was a bridge between species, a beacon of peace in the vast, uncharted universe. As the airlock door sealed behind her, Eliana took a deep breath. There was no turning back now. She was about to come face to face with the Seraphim, in a situation more intimate and precarious than she could ever have imagined. As Eliana stepped through the Seraphim airlock, a rush of cool, scented air greeted her, a stark contrast to the sterile environment of the Horizon. The interior of the alien ship was a kaleidoscope of organic architecture. Walls pulsed gently with a soft, bioluminescent glow, and the floor beneath her felt alive, subtly shifting to accommodate her footsteps. It was as if the ship itself was aware of her presence and adapting to ensure her comfort. Guided by the melodic tones that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere, Eliana moved deeper into the vessel. The corridor widened into a vast chamber where the gravity subtly shifted, lighter than she was used to, lending a surreal quality to her movements. At the center of the room, suspended in a column of shimmering light, was the alien nurse. The Seraphim nurse was a breathtaking creature, with skin that shimmered like stars against the night sky. Its form was fluid, almost mist-like, constantly reshaping and reforming. Now, it seemed agitated, its movements quick and erratic. Around it, smaller seraphim fluttered, their bioluminescent bodies casting soft glows, attempting to soothe their kin. One of the seraphim approached Eliana, its form coalescing into a more humanoid shape as it neared. It communicated through a series of harmonic vibrations that Eliana's translator device rendered into a rough approximation of human speech. "Thank you for coming, Dr. Voss," the creature said, its voice a haunting echo in her mind. "Our nurse, Maylee, is essential to our kind's continuation, but the sudden frenzy has destabilized her. We fear for her life and for the ship." Eliana nodded, her focus sharpening. "How can I assist? What triggers the frenzy in your species?" The seraphim's form blurred momentarily, a sign of distress. "It is our connection to the life force of our planet, disrupted by our distance from it. Here, she cannot feel the grounding she needs. The frenzy is too strong, too early." Understanding dawned on Eliana. The ship's environment needed to mimic their home planet's conditions more closely, its magnetic fields, its specific blend of atmospheric gases, the ambient energies that the seraphim were evidently sensitive to. "I might be able to help," Eliana said, already formulating a plan. "We need to recreate a part of your planet here, on your ship. Do you have data on your planet's environmental specifics?" "Yes, much data," the seraphim replied, leading her to a side chamber filled with alien technology that hummed and thrummed with life. Eliana worked alongside the seraphim, using the data to adjust the ship's environmental controls. It was a delicate process, requiring her to tweak and balance variables that were barely understood by human science. As the ship's atmosphere began to shift, the chamber's temperature adjusted, and the bioluminescent lights dimmed to mimic the twilight of the seraphim's home world. The change in Maylee was almost instantaneous. The frenzied movement slowed, becoming more deliberate, more serene. The shimmering light around her stabilized, glowing steadily. Relief washed over Eliana as she watched Maylee's transformation. The other seraphim gathered, their tones now harmonious, a symphony of gratitude and wonder. They circled around Eliana, and in a moment of shared understanding, they extended an invitation deeper into their world, both physical and metaphorical. Eliana's mission had evolved in ways she could never have anticipated. What began as a medical intervention was now leading her into the heart of seraphim society, revealing the interconnectedness of their culture, their technology, and their very beings. As she followed the seraphim deeper into their ship, she knew she was stepping into a vastly expanded universe of possibilities. The mysteries of the seraphim were opening before her, promising insights not just into their species, but into the fabric of life itself across the cosmos. Eliana ventured deeper into the seraphim vessel, her senses overwhelmed by the symphony of sights and sounds. The corridor she traversed now spiraled gently, its walls pulsating with rhythmic patterns that responded to her presence. It was as if the ship itself was alive, breathing and thinking alongside its inhabitants. As they moved, the seraphim who had been her guide now introduced as Teller explained the fundamental aspects of their civilization. "Our society is built on harmony and connectivity. Each individual is both independent and a piece of the collective, contributing to and drawing from the communal consciousness. This ship, like all our technology, is an extension of our very essence." Eliana absorbed his words, finding parallels in human concepts of collective societies and integrated AI systems. Yet the Seraphim's implementation was far more organic, more intrinsic. They arrived at what Teller referred to as the memory chamber, a vast archive of living history. Here, the walls were lined with thousands of luminescent strands, each one a living record of the Seraphim's ancestral memories. To understand any Seraphim, one must understand their ancestors' experiences encoded in these strands, Teller explained. Eliana was fascinated. "So, your history is not just learned, it's experienced?" she asked, her mind racing with the implications. "Exactly," Teller responded, his form shimmering with pride. "Would you like to experience it?" With a cautious nod, Eliana agreed. Teller guided her to a central dais where she was instructed to place her hands on bioluminescent conduits. The moment her skin touched the glowing surface, her vision blurred, and she was swept away into a flood of memories not her own. Visions of ancient seraphim worlds, their first ventures into space, their joys and their calamities all flashed through her mind in vivid detail. She felt the weight of centuries of joy, sorrow, and discovery press upon her, an emotional and intellectual overload that was both exhilarating and exhausting. As the connection broke, Eliana staggered back, overwhelmed but deeply moved. "That was incredible," she gasped. "Your people have lived so much, faced so much." Teller nodded, his eyes glowing warmly. "And now, we face a new challenge. Integrating with humanity, sharing space and knowledge. We see potential in this cooperation." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden shift in the ship's ambience. The harmonious tones that had continuously filled the background shifted to a discordant throb. Teller's form flickered with urgency. "Something's wrong," he stated, moving swiftly toward the source of the disturbance. Eliana followed, her heart racing as they approached the control center hub that resembled the neurosystem of a giant organism, with tendrils of light and energy converging into a central nexus. The Seraphim crew was in a flurry of activity, their bodies blurring as they moved rapidly, attempting to stabilize whatever anomaly had arisen. "The ship's core is destabilizing," one of the Seraphim announced. "We're losing containment of the energy matrix." Understanding the gravity of the situation, Eliana stepped forward. "Let me help. I have experience with energy systems," she offered, recalling her early years on Horizon dealing with the station's temperamental fusion reactor. With Teller's guidance, Eliana interfaced with the ship's control nexus, her translator device rapidly adapting to the new context. The core schematics appeared complex, but familiar in their fundamental physics. She worked, guided by the Seraphim's quick instructions, adjusting the flow of energy, recalibrating the containment fields to restore balance. As the ship's rhythms began to harmonize once more, a palpable sense of relief spread throughout the control room. The crisis averted, Eliana's respect for the Seraphim's technology grew, as did her understanding of their dependence on this symbiotic relationship with their ship. Teller approached her, his voice filled with gratitude. "You have not only saved our nurse, but now our vessel. Perhaps you are not just a guest, but a part of this crew." Eliana smiled, considering the weight of his words. Her role had evolved significantly in the short time since she boarded the Seraphim ship. What began as a simple assistance mission was rapidly becoming a pivotal moment in human-Seraphim relations. She was indeed becoming part of their world, their struggles and triumphs shared. As they resumed their journey, Eliana stood among the Seraphim, not just as a helper, but as a peer, ready to face whatever the cosmos might bring their way together. Following the crisis, Eliana's integration with the Seraphim deepened. Each day, she learned more about their technology and culture, and in turn, she shared insights from human science and experience. The exchanges were enriching for both sides, forging bonds that were both professional and personal. One afternoon, as the ship traversed through a particularly turbulent sector of space, Eliana and Teller were reviewing the energy distribution schematics when a new challenge emerged. The ship's sensors detected an anomalous gravitational field emanating from a nearby uncharted system. The readings suggested that it wasn't a natural phenomenon, but something engineered. Could it be another civilization? Eliana asked, her curiosity piqued. The prospect of encountering another spacefaring society was thrilling, but also fraught with potential dangers. Teller analyzed the data with a measured caution. "It's possible. The pattern is too precise to be a natural occurrence. We should investigate, but carefully. Our ship is still recovering from the previous instability." Eliana nodded in agreement. "Let's prepare a probe. We can collect more data and assess any risks." Working together, they designed a specialized probe equipped with advanced sensors and communication arrays to handle the unpredictable conditions. Eliana took the lead in programming its mission parameters, incorporating algorithms she had developed during her tenure on Horizon. As they launched the probe, a palpable excitement filled the control room. The Seraphim were naturally explorative, and the potential discovery of another sentient species was a momentous occasion. Hours later, the probe transmitted its first batch of data. The gravitational anomalies were indeed artificial, created by technology that was unlike anything the seraphim or humans had encountered before. The data revealed a complex network of satellites, each emitting precise gravitational waves to form what appeared to be a protective barrier around the system. "This is incredible," Eliana breathed out, examining the data streams. "It's like a giant puzzle, locking the system away from the rest of the universe." Teller was equally fascinated. Why would a civilization isolate themselves so completely? Are they protecting themselves, or perhaps something inside the system? Determined to find answers, Eliana suggested, "We need to send a message. See if they will respond." Crafting a message that conveyed peaceful intentions and curiosity, they sent it towards the mysterious system. The waiting was agonizing, filled with both anticipation and a hint of dread. Days passed with no response, and the crew debated their next move. It was during one of these discussions that the ship received a sudden transmission. The message was cryptic, filled with mathematical sequences and abstract symbols that neither the Seraphim nor Eliana's devices could initially decode. Eliana worked tirelessly, her mind racing through possibilities. These aren't just symbols. They're a form of language expressing complex ideas through mathematical constructs, she realized, her excitement mounting as she broke down the sequences. With her breakthrough, the message began to unfold, revealing a request from the hidden civilization. They were guardians of a celestial anomaly within their system, a singularity that was unstable and potentially catastrophic. Their isolation was not out of fear but responsibility. They sought to prevent the anomaly from threatening the galaxy. They need help stabilizing the singularity, Eliana concluded, translating the last of the message. They've been doing this alone for centuries. The Seraphim were moved by the plight of this mysterious civilization. Teller spoke decisively. "We should help them. It aligns with our values, and this is a chance to expand our understanding of the cosmos." Agreement was unanimous, and preparations began for a mission to the isolated system. Eliana's role was crucial. Not only was she instrumental in breaking the communication barrier, but her expertise in energy systems would be vital in addressing the singularity's instability. As the ship set its course towards the hidden system, Eliana felt a profound connection with the Seraphim. Together, they were not just explorers but also guardians of the cosmic order. The upcoming mission was daunting, but with the combined efforts of both species, they were ready to face the challenges ahead, united by a common goal of preserving the delicate balance of the universe. As the Seraphim ship approached the isolated system, the crew prepared for the unknown with a mixture of apprehension and determination. The gravitational anomalies became more pronounced, tugging at the fabric of space around them in a mesmerizing dance of cosmic forces. Eliana monitored the ship systems, ensuring that the energy matrices remained stable enough to withstand the intense gravitational pull. Upon entering the system, they were greeted by a sight that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. At the heart of the system was the Singularity, a black hole, its event horizon shimmering with an eerie light. Surrounding it was a constellation of ancient satellites, their designs marked by an elegance and complexity that spoke of a highly advanced civilization. The Guardians, as they called themselves, welcomed the Seraphim ship via a transmission that was now clear, thanks to Eliana's earlier decryption efforts. They were a species that had evolved in the shadow of the Singularity, their entire existence shaped by the need to contain its destructive power. "We are the Athoni," their message read, "keepers of the Aegis, the barrier that holds the rupture at bay." Eliana and Teller were invited to a meeting on the largest satellite, a structure that doubled as both a command center and a living museum of the Athoni's history. As they docked, Eliana felt a shiver of anticipation. This was first contact on an unprecedented scale. The Athoni were unlike any beings Eliana had ever seen. They were beings of light and shadow, their bodies composed of radiant energy contained within semi-solid frameworks that shimmered with each movement. Their appearance was as fluid as their environment, changing and adapting with a graceful flow. "We have maintained the Aegis for generations, but the Singularity is becoming unstable," one of the Athoni explained through a translator that worked in real time, converting their light pulses into audible speech. "Your arrival brings us hope." Eliana was introduced to their technologies, a fusion of natural astrophysics and engineered solutions. The Aegis satellites generate a graviton curtain, but the singularity's erratic behavior has begun to exceed our control system's capabilities, another Guardian detailed. With her expertise in advanced energy systems, Eliana suggested modifications that could enhance the satellite's performance. By integrating adaptive algorithms from Seraphim technology and human theoretical models, we can create a more responsive control network, she proposed, detailing her plan with schematics and data projections. The collaboration began immediately. Eliana worked alongside Athoni and Seraphim engineers, blending their technologies. They enhanced the graviton generators with adaptive algorithms and introduced a secondary fail-safe system based on human redundancy principles. As they implemented the upgrades, the tension within the control center was palpable. Everyone watched as the first test of the new system commenced. The satellites adjusted to the new configurations, their outputs harmonizing with the singularity's rhythms. Gradually, the erratic fluctuations of the black hole began to smooth out. The system stabilized, and the shimmering event horizon calmed into a steady pulse of contained energy. Cheers broke out among the team, a celebration of their joint success. The Athoni were profoundly grateful, their bodies glowing with bright, pulsating colors that expressed their emotions more vividly than words could. "You have not just brought us technology, you have brought us new possibilities," an Athoni leader expressed. "Let this be the foundation of a lasting alliance among our peoples." As they discussed future collaborations, Eliana realized the profound impact of their success. They had not only stabilized a cosmic anomaly, but had also forged a new interstellar partnership. The Athoni, Seraphim, and humans now shared a bond forged in the crucible of cosmic forces, a testament to their collective strength and ingenuity. As the meeting concluded, Eliana looked out at the singularity, now a symbol of unity and hope. The mission had expanded her world infinitely, from the microscopic life forms she studied on Horizon to the vast, dynamic forces of the cosmos. She was no longer just a scientist. She was a cosmic diplomat, bridging species and galaxies with her knowledge and courage. Together with her new allies, she looked forward to exploring the myriad possibilities this new era of cooperation would bring. In the wake of their success, the alliance between the Athoni, Seraphim, and humans grew stronger. The stabilized singularity became not just a beacon of their achievement, but also a center for a burgeoning community of scientists and engineers from all three species. Eliana found herself at the heart of this unique convergence of knowledge, a position she embraced with fervor and humility. The new research facility, named the Nexus, was constructed around the largest of the Aegis satellites. It served as a hub for collaborative research, a place where the combined knowledge of the three civilizations could be pooled to tackle other cosmic challenges and explore new frontiers in science and technology. Eliana took a lead role at the Nexus, overseeing projects that ranged from the development of advanced propulsion systems to the creation of sustainable energy solutions that could be used across galaxies. Her days were filled with innovation and discovery, pushing the boundaries of what they all thought possible. One of her favorite projects was the Living Library, an initiative inspired by the Seraphim's memory chamber. It aimed to preserve and share the knowledge of all participating species, ensuring that the wisdom of the past was not lost, but instead enriched by each new discovery. Eliana worked closely with Athoni and Seraphim archivists, integrating human experiences and histories into the expansive database. The collaborative environment also fostered deep personal connections. Eliana found herself learning not just about alien technologies, but also about the philosophies and arts of her new friends. Teller introduced her to Seraphim musical expressions, complex symphonies of light and sound that told stories of their people's journeys and dreams. Meanwhile, the Athoni shared their art of light sculpting, creating breathtaking displays that illuminated the Nexus with vibrant colors and shapes, each piece a reflection of their thoughts and emotions. Eliana took to this art form with enthusiasm, seeing it as a metaphor for the collaborative nature of their work, individual lights coming together to create something greater. As the anniversary of the Nexus's founding approached, a grand celebration was planned. Scientists, leaders, and citizens from many worlds were invited to witness the achievements of the new alliance. Eliana was chosen to speak at the event, a role she accepted with a mix of excitement and nervousness. When the day arrived, The Nexus was aglow with lights and filled with the harmonious sounds of seraphim music. Eliana stood before the assembly, her heart full as she looked out over the crowd of diverse beings, all united by a common goal. Today, we celebrate not just the achievements of science, but the power of unity. Eliana began, her voice steady and clear. Here, at the Nexus, we have proven that when diverse civilizations come together, the possibilities are limitless. We have turned a potential catastrophe into a cradle of cooperation and hope. She continued, sharing stories of their work, the challenges they had overcome, and the plans for the future. As she spoke, images of their projects and the people involved were displayed behind her, a vivid tapestry of their collective journey. As the event concluded, Eliana felt a sense of overwhelming gratitude. From her first uncertain steps onto the Seraphim vessel to her leadership at the Nexus, her life had changed in unimaginable ways. She had seen the power of cooperation and the beauty of diverse minds working in harmony. Looking out at the stars from the observation deck of the Nexus, Eliana felt a profound connection to the universe. With the Nexus as a symbol of their united purpose, she knew that this was just the beginning. The future was vast and filled with unknowns, but together, they could face whatever mysteries lay ahead, turning the darkness of space into a canvas of light and possibility.